It's time to finish the game. Let's go.
Ball first and 10 at the 12-yard line of the Seahawks. Sean goes right, has a cutback lane, and he does. He's across the 20, the 25, 30, 35, 40. Here he goes. Are they going to catch him? 40, 35, 30, 25, 10, 5. Touchdown, Seahawks. What a run by Sean Alexander.
Finish the game. We gonna finish the game. Yeah, finish the game. We gonna finish the game.
Hey, welcome back to Finish the Game. This is your guy, Sean Alexander, with the producer across the window.
Yes, sir. And the man in the other room ready to finish the game. Let's do this.
You know, I'm so excited about today. You guys know my heart has always been about trying to send a message to the world that you too can be an MVP at life. And one of the things you got to do is work hard and finish the game. And today's show is going to be about friendships, being a great teammate, having great teammates around you. You know, we always talk about show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Well, one of my closest friends is going to be today's special guest.
University of Georgia man, a Bulldog, Sean, undrafted in 1993, but went on to 2 Pro Bowls, one in 2005, one in 2006. First team All-Pro in 2005, 5-time Steve Largent Award winner. We're talking about someone who's a good friend of yours.
The battling ram.
That's it, Mack Strong. Mack, welcome to the Finish the Game podcast.
Man, thank you guys for having me.
Mack, it's so great to have you, man. And today's show is going to be just all about being around great teammates, you being a great teammate. And I could have had no one in mind that could pop up greater than Mack Strong, my bodyguard, my right-hand man, the one who would crush all people. And I get great joy out of telling people how you made some of the greatest linebackers in our league cringe when you would hit them, they would cringe. They'd fall on the ground. I'd fall over top of them, get the first down, and I'd be like, "Oh, I know you hurting." So, brother, thank you for being on the show, man. How's it going, man? Tell me where you're living now.
Man, I live out in the middle of nowhere right now. I'm in Eastern Washington, a small town by the name of Pullman, Washington, where Washington State University is, Pac-12 school. Yeah. And my wife finished up her doctorate degree at UW last year, and this is her first year as a professor out here. So we sold our house in Seattle, moved out here, and we've been here just a little over a year now. Not
quite the Jeffersons, but but I get what you're doing. You know, so y'all out in Pullman, man, and that's beautiful. Washington State University. That's the University of Washington's great rival. And, you know, I think y'all got Coach Leach out there as the coach now?
Yeah, Mike Leach is the coach. He did a great job last year. He got these guys. They ended up going 9-3 and then won their bowl game. So he's definitely getting these guys the program turned around and doing a great job. Oh man, that's great. Well, man, so besides living out in Palma with a brilliant wife that you have, man, tell us about your kids, man. The world doesn't know, but Mack Strong has some of the most coolest sons in the world, man. Tell how old your boys now? They're 14 and 12, Isaiah and Evan. My oldest son is getting ready to go into high school. Can't believe I gotta have a high schooler on my hands. He's almost 6'2". So I'm looking up at him. You know, I was dreading that day, and then it came and went. And so he's just he's doing great things in school and in sports. And then my youngest son, Evan, he'll be a 7th grader this year. So they're both great students, great kids, and great athletes. Oh, that's great. What's Isaiah and what's Evan? What's their sport right now? You know, they both love basketball, believe it or not. They we about 4 or 5 years ago got them involved in AAU basketball. And, you know, I don't know what it's like out there where you live, but out here, man, it's like year-round stuff. Yeah, without a doubt. Always in the gym and going to tournaments and all that kind of stuff. So they really latched onto it, and they're doing well. And who knows? We'll see if they have a future in it. But my oldest son just started playing tackle football last year, and he had a blast. He was like Sean Alexander, man. All he did was score touchdowns every time he touched the ball. Hey, that's not a bad gift to have. You know, if you go have
score a touchdown.
Hey, that gift right there, take your places.
You're listening to the Finish the Game podcast. I'm Claude Jennings. He is the 2005 NFL MVP, Sean Alexander, speaking with Mack Strong, a fullback with Seattle for 14 seasons, played fullback, blocking for Sean. Also, Ricky Waters and Chris Warren. And when you look at the fullback position, Mac, and this is one of the things Sean wanted to talk about today, relationships, to get anything of value done or to do anything great, you've got to have great teamwork, great communication, and great relationships. Just talk about the relationship. I mean, just from your standpoint, even as a fullback playing with Sean in that offensive line, and then even outside of football now to get things done, how you have to have the right folks around you focused on that goal.
Well, I think that's such a important topic just to discuss. I mean, because really, I tell my kids this all the time, and even when I go out and speak to people, nobody's accomplished anything alone. You could take the greatest athletes, the greatest, politicians, whatever. I mean, nobody's ever done it by themselves. They've always needed relationships and people surrounding them to assist them. And just working with Sean and our offensive line, I mean, the reason why we were so successful, we had probably a 5-year stretch where we, went to the playoffs, and the 1 year in 2005 went all the way to the Super Bowl, was because of just our relationship and our connection to each other. I mean, there's something to be said about a team that's able to have a core group of guys together for a long, at least an extended period of time, and you get to know one another, and you get to know, how each other's going to play and how guys are going to block, and you can almost sort of just feel what guys are going to do before they even do it, and I think that's a real kind of reason why we were so successful during those years. Sean just had phenomenal years there, just being able to read and play off of myself and those guys up front, and it made us I think just a really, really good football team offensively.
You look at Go ahead. You look at the Seahawks now, and you're just you watch them, and what you catch is you catch us back in the early 2000s. We all came together, and we got to do life. I mean, you were a little bit older, so you got to see me get married, but we got to watch each other's kids be born and kind of do all the beginning of lives. And we were all together a good 4, 5, 6 years, all of us. And you're right. Playing together was amazing, where I could tell people, I could tell how Mac was feeling by the way his left butt cheek was feeling on it. Okay, that thing up a little bit high. Okay, we might be able to run this play this week because Mac need to get that chiropractor in, but that's what it takes when you're around each other for so long. It was amazing. Mac, I tell you, when it comes to friendships and doing life like we did, I valued some of the just greatest moments of just us being on the plane, flying to games, playing cards, us being in a hotel room, just talking about life and going to restaurants together once we got into different cities, and knowing that the pressures of being foolish are doing things that would not be what we represented, and as men of God, as husbands, as fathers. It was really sweet to know that we were with like-minded people, and our team was full of guys like that. And I would like for you to share with the audience, even though you was one of the veterans, what it was like watching all of us younger guys come in that were the same like mine. I mean, you was kind of like a big brother to all of us, and I'd like for you to share with that with the people that are listening.
Well, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, it's just being around people who are like-minded and feel like you guys have a similar value system. It just makes it a lot easier because, a lot of people don't get it. Boy, when you're on a football team that's playing in the NFL, you're with those guys in the locker room probably more than you're with your own physical family.
Yeah.
I would, I joke with my wife about that all the time, and she didn't really like it. But man, I really spent more time away from my wife and my kids, during that period, and you really become a family. Mm-hmm. And so when you're in the locker room, sharing your lives with people, you want to make sure it's people that are gonna, you can trust and you can rely on. And like you said, we attend each other's weddings and watch each other's kids grow up, and it's just cool to see where people are at today. But those relationships are just so very, very valuable. And, being on the road is so very important. You're there, take care of business. We all have a job to do, but at the same time, we're family as well. We're not robots. We're not Neanderthals. We have stuff that go on during the season. I know the people I play with have lost loved ones and siblings during the season, and you're there for them. We're all, there's a brotherhood there in the NFL that's like no other. And just to be there for one another when guys are going through good times and bad times is what really made, I think, that team, the teams that we played for, that, like you said, in the early 2000s, is so special.
Oh, without a doubt. Mac, I wanted to send a message to a lot of high school kids today, a lot of college kids that are listening, especially because football season's going on. I know you're a Bulldog, and I got to say, roll Tide.
It's all good. We got Kirby Smart, so.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Y'all are so smart with that. But if you could send a message to the person that is now a part of a high school team, and he might be the man this year, or he's on a college team, and you want to tell him, hey, young man, hey, son, listen, if you want to have success, how would you finish that sentence?
I would say invest in relationships. Invest in relationships, work hard, and just never give up. I mean, those would be my three mottos. I mean, wherever I go, that's kind of the things that I preach. But, a lot of times I know what it was like for me, going off college, coming from a small school, becoming a little fish in a big pond. Man, it was eye-opening, going to a big college campus and having to be in a different environment and wondering, that still had to go to school and do well academically, and I want to do well out on the field and develop relationships. I mean, you're really becoming, a young man. And so, a good way to kind of navigate all of that is just, surround yourself with people, that can really help you, that are really positive, that can help you, achieve your goals, and you can help them do the same thing. And then, you got to be a hard worker to get accomplished in this life without that. And then, you got to have that grit and that resiliency. So, I mean, you're going to have challenges, things that happen to you, sometimes out of your control, but you can never give up. I mean, never lose sight of, the goals that you set before yourself and all those things that are out there for you. You can achieve them if you don't quit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This is the Finish the Game podcast with Sean Alexander. I'm Claude Jennings. Our guest today is Mack Strong, 14 seasons with Seattle. Now, Mac, you were undrafted in 93, but then to go on to 14 straight seasons and 14 great seasons, all pro. What was the mindset there in 93, if you could take us back when you go undrafted and you're with Seattle? And then what did it take for someone who people may not have expected much out of to last 14 and have 14 great seasons? Maybe there's someone now who feels, unnoticed or unappreciated, but they can still achieve a lot. What did it take for you to do that?
I just decided, from day one that I was going to do everything within my power, just to give my best. And then I wasn't going to worry about the rest of the stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things in professional sports that you as a player, you just have no control over. I got to the right place at the right time. I think with where the organization was, and I just worked my tail off, and I was willing to do the dirty work that, to be honest with you, not a lot of people were willing to do. And I think that really served me well. Just being there just for all those years, year in and year out, even though I got to, become one of the, kind of mainstay veterans that was there, I always kind of looked at every year like they're trying to get rid of me. and so just staying hungry,
right?
Staying hungry like that, I think just helped me to go out and give my best. And I don't know how many fullbacks they tried to draft to come in and replace me, but they couldn't just because I was hungry. So man, that's what I would tell anybody: stay hungry.
Yeah, no, you know what? It's funny, Mac. We tried to bring in, it seemed like a fullback every year, and so you're right. I mean, when I got there, it was Reggie Brown, and we brought in Heath Evans, and then we brought in the young boys, Chris Davis, and all. We brought some great, talented athletes every year to come replace you, and they would always say the same thing. Hey, Sean, I know your relationship with Mac is strong, but no pun intended. But anyway, so we might bring in another young guy to get in. Mac ain't gonna be able to block for you forever. And I'm like, well, Mac pretty much just proved all y'all wrong. And I would fight in the rooms with you for you every year, and they would try to find somebody to replace Mack Strong. But you know what? You hit it on the nail. Every year. The truth was you were getting older, but no one could stop the hunger that you had to go be the best. And there was games where I was like, this defense we're playing against is good. and I would see that hunger in your eyes to go just hammer people. And I was put in that position I would never let Mack Strong down. And it was beautiful. I was just telling my daughter today, we're having a good discussion about when are we going to really buckle down and be obedient and be strong and fight for what we want. And I said, hey, what do you want? And she wrote down a list of 10 things she wanted. And I didn't know where it was going. But then I don't know what happened. I just said, how are you going to get it? And she looked at me and she like, I get it, Dad. And so, and so once again, like once you understand, like, hey, it's on me to get it. No one's going to hand it out to me. You high school, you college, you young people, 20s, 30s at your job. You want to become the VP. This is what you want. You want to become the superstar. You want to be the MVP of a company or an MVP of a team. You want to be the 14-year legend like Mack Strong. Well, the question is going to be, how are you going to get there? And I think the answer is the same way, no matter you're playing football, basketball, baseball, no matter if you're doing academics, if you want to be a producer on a radio show, you better look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not coming out. I'm too hungry to let this thing go. And watch what happens. At the end of the day, you're going to decide if you're going to do it, and then you're going to do it.
Those are very true words, and it's, I forget, there's a friend who told me, yeah, you need to make sure you have a PhD. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what does that mean? He said, you got to be, pretty hungry and determined. And and that's what people need to have. They need to have a PhD, just for the things that they really want in life and their dreams and goals. And it's out there for anyone who's willing to put in the work.
Hey, man, you're right, Mack. Hey, so before I go, I want to ask you these 7 hot questions. But before I do that, tell me a little bit about the Legends community. You're part of the NFL Legends community, and it's intriguing to me about some of the stuff that the NFL is now trying to do to help the NFL become successful, the players after they play to be successful in life. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it was an initiative that started about 3 years ago, and I was one of the original 20 legends. They asked to sort of spread out. They spread us out throughout the all the different teams throughout the league, and my job is just to reach out to former players. Number one, to congratulate and celebrate them on just phenomenal career, and I'm talking about not just guys that are just getting out of the league, but guys that have been out before. Because I think. When you play this game and you're in it, I mean, you feel it. You feel like, man, it's a brotherhood, and you feel, that locker room feel and all that kind of stuff. But then when you get out, you can, I think for a lot of retired players, you can feel like, nobody notices me anymore. And, you lose we're talking about those relationships with the guys that you were family with for however long you played. And, you lose connection with the NFL. So we want to bring that back. We want to celebrate guys. We want to connect guys. We want to help guys get the resources that that are available to them. I'm amazed at how often I run into guys that play for a long time. They're like, man, I don't know what my benefits are. I don't know how to find out. And so I help guys to do that, but also help guys to be able to network and find ways to just be successful in whatever they're doing right now, whether they want to get into coaching or they have own their own business. And so that's what the Legends community is all about. And, if there's any former players out there listening, anybody that's ever signed an NFL contract, you can go to NFL.com/legends and you can register, and you will, start receiving communication about just things that are available for you as a former player.
Yeah. And everybody listening, everybody's a former NFL player. We're not looking for just Barry Sanders. You ain't got to break Barry Sanders' record to be a part of, be called a legend. If you wore the uniform, if you signed a contract, you're a legend. You've gone farther than anybody else in the football world, period. In this country or in the world, you're a legend just because you've battled from 4th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, high school, college. You kept running the course and you made it to where it wanted to wear the NFL logo with the city on your back. You're a legend just from doing that. And Mack Strong is one of the representatives, and there's several across this country that are here to help you get to where you want to be. and I say this to all you young teenagers and 20-year-olds and that are playing football right now, we want you to become a legend too. So start by making some wise decisions. Get yourself around some great people. Respect your coach. Be a great player, and use everything that God's given you as a gift to let the whole world see it. And with that, Mack Strong, are you ready for the rapid fire questions?
Man, fire away.
Okay, here we go. Give me a life-shaping memory.
Life-shaping memory.
Yep, young age.
Boy, when my oldest son was born. It was about a month after 9/11.
Yep.
And so that to me was definitely a life-changing moment for me.
Yeah. Number 2, give me your best sports moment.
Best sports moment. Man, I would say something sometime in the NFL, but actually, some of my best moments were probably in high school. And I think about a time where I scored 5 touchdowns in the first half. I know that may come as a shock to some people, but I do know how to run the football. I scored 83 touchdowns in my high school career, so I know how to put the ball in the end zone.
You are my hero, Mack Strong. You know what?
You know what? Any of those goal line balls that went to Sean, you were like, yo, if they would just give me the ball, I'd punch this thing in. Why they always calling 37 at the goal
you know
line?
what? There was a couple times where they say, oh, we're going to line up in this formation. And then they say, oh, yeah, Sean, you and Mack switch. Mack would be like, all right. I was like, hell, in this play, it looks like I'm blocking for Mack. Oh, that's right. Y'all switch. I'm like, whoo. Mack, thanks for being so humble with that.
That would have been a good number 2 choice. So it's all good.
Without a doubt. Okay, give me your most inspiring person, the person that inspired you the most.
Well,
I know there was many, so tell everybody we apologize, but you can't lift 35 people, Cousin Ray and all them. Just give me one.
Well, other than Jesus, I'd say Nelson Mandela. I had an opportunity to meet him back in the late 90s when he came to Seattle for a fundraiser, and I had an opportunity to meet him and engage with him. And boy, I tell you what, that'll be a moment that I'll never forget.
Mack Strong, you're so big time, dude. Like, some people list like cousins down the street. You was like Nelson Mandela. See, that's why I like hanging around with you. You know, they say Eagles hang with Eagles. My fullback hung out with Nelson Mandela. I'm just letting y'all know. Give me the greatest lesson you've ever learned.
Greatest lesson I ever learned. Oh man. Well, I tell you what, I learned a great lesson. My mom, just about being obedient.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom told me not to leave the court where we lived at. We lived in a little cul-de-sac where she caught me going outside the court one time. Let's just say she put an end to that. I was like, I'm supposed to listen when you tell me something. Oh, okay, all right, I got it now.
I'm sure you're like all the rest of us boys raised in the South. I didn't know my mom was that strong.
Oh man, I'm trying to tell you, boy. I was like, we had these bushes out in front of our house too. I was like, man, I need to cut these bushes down and throw them away or something.
Oh man, question number 5: if you could have one life do-over, what would it be?
Oh man, that's a great one. It's so many. I'd like to have.
We all know. We all say the same thing.
I'd probably say the first time I yelled at my wife and kids. Mm-hmm. I wish I could take that back. That kind of haunts me to this day. But I'm fallible. Yes,
no, that's real.
So, yeah.
I love asking that question about one life do-over because it lets everybody know that we're humans. You know what I mean? Like sometimes us in the NFL family, people be like, "Wow, you guys are doing amazing, and you've got fame and fortune, and you've got beautiful wives." And they're like, "Well, like when we close the door, we got to take out the garbage." You know what I mean? And sometimes we disagree with each other, and I want to scream and holler, but I'm scared y'all gonna put me on ESPN, like. You know what I mean? Like, these real, like, be
on Instagram somewhere.
Hey, I used to tell my wife all the time while we was playing, Mac, sweetie, please don't put us on ESPN like this. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what I'm saying?
That's not how we want to do. And when it happens, we feel terrible because we're men of God and we love our wives. But the flaw in this is that man, we got to wrestle through those feelings also. And so, man, so no, that's great. Yeah. I touche. I was touche. Yes. Number 6, if you could give advice to your sons, right now, what would it be?
Oh, I think we've been talking about it a lot. And actually, I just talked to my son earlier today about this. It's just about working hard.
Yeah.
Working hard. I think that's just such a valuable, and, being out here, and, I joke about being out here in Eastern Washington, is mostly an agriculture community. But, I see people, I look out my back window, I see people all the time working hard in the fields, farming, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, that's, back in that generation, they knew what hard work was all about. But I think, in today's age with this generation, with all the stuff with social media, kids just sitting around on their phones and stuff. It's hard to teach that lesson. It was easier probably back in our day.
Yeah.
But it's harder, I think, to instill that in kids today, just about the value of working hard and how that can prepare you in life.
Yeah, there is a gentle war that says, if I don't work hard, it's okay. It's still going to work out. And sometimes it does, but that is really not the 100% truth, and I've had to tell people that I've known in the past that would say, Sean, we want to come work with you with some of the stuff you're doing. And I'm like, gosh, I've known you for years, and I'm just going to tell you the truth because I love you. You don't work hard enough to do any of the things that I'm doing, and it's sad. And sometimes when it comes to just doing natural hard work, would a person be able to watch you and say, you know what, when it was time to produce, you did way more than what I thought you would ever do. Kids don't feel good about that. That's not like their goal anymore. It's spotty. And I think at the end of the day, that's a great message for your sons, and that's a great message for everybody that's listening, whether you're the businessman or the person that's in high school trying to play ball. At the end of the day, you're going to leave a name that everybody's going to remember. And I would love for it to be this person got out there and he worked hard. He put everybody under the ground because he put everybody under the ground, and that doesn't happen by accident. It's funny, Mac, when we watch the Seahawks team now, I get great joy at watching these boys work. But I remember how hard we had to work to get us over the hill. You know what I mean? Like, people used to come into Seattle, and football's a lot of just mindset. If you think you're going to beat the team, you're way ahead of the game. And people used to come into Seattle already thinking that they had us beat. And for us to get over that hill to where we came to a place that no one wanted to play at, it took hard work and from everybody, top to bottom, And so I thank you for that too. Okay, so last question. Give us a finish the game moment where you looked up and you were like, you know what? I finished this well.
Oh, gosh. That's a great question. Honestly, I have to go back to that 2005 season. Man, we started off that season 2-2.
I know. Everybody forgets.
And, everybody forgets. We started off that season 2-2, and media was on us, and everybody was like, "Oh, same old Seahawks." And they're gonna, they're doing the thing what they usually do, high expectation, and they're not gonna deliver. And then we just went on this run, that 11 games in a row, I believe it was. Yeah. And then, obviously ended up getting to. So I just remember just the great joy. That honestly was a shot in the arm for me. I was literally getting ready to hang up my cleats at that point because that was already year 13. Right. So I'm like, man, okay, this would be a good season to go out on. But really, it was the opposite because I was so inspired by just our team and the grit we had and just to persevere and push through. And we finished. We obviously didn't win the Super Bowl, but it just felt like, man, we set I think we broke through a barrier that was there in Seattle for a long, long time. And I'm just grateful that we could be a part of the group that was able to do that. And, now they obviously been back 2 more Super Bowls and won one, but feel like that barrier had to be broken. Yeah. And so, I was just grateful to be a part of the team that did that.
Oh, well, man, that's great, man. Now, if I could do a do-over, that'd probably be that game. But
we need to give you about 15 more carries.
Yeah, goodness. I was trying to be a good teammate, just kept myself quiet the whole time. I was like, this is so not like me. Say something. I need the ball. But you know what, Mac? It's been great having you, man. You are still one of my greatest teammates of all time. And, man, I love what you stand for, your marriage, your kids. You even give it back to all the future legends and the legends from the past of the NFL. Brother, thank you for being on the show. Everybody, this was Mack Strong, Claude Jennings, and I'm Sean Alexander. You just listened to Finish the Game. I'll catch y'all later. Enjoy the song.